So we just got out of Dr. Sleep, Caleb.
Dr. Sleep.
What'd you think?
just jumping right
into it.
Dr. Sleep.
It's been a stressful week, and I wanted to watch this movie.
Sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
My favorite.
30 years later.
Favorite horror movie. The Shining's my favorite horror movie.
You know what? I'd put it up there.
You know what? It's just one of my favorite movies in general, actually.
Caleb.
You know.
We need to talk about the flaws of this movie first.
Oh,
hold on. Trust me on this.
Gonna dig into. I know the flaws. I know the one big glaring flaw to me, and it was something that I was scared of to begin with. But to dive into something a little different, like Flanagan, who's up and rising horror director. Everything he does is pretty solid.
It's been pretty good.
Of course, the highlight of his career so far has been The Haunting of Hill House. This isn't as good as The Haunting of Hill House, but this is pretty daggone good. Well, if you want to go into the flaws first, you can, because I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons.
I want to hear your cons.
Oh, my cons. It was a con that I was worried about watching the trailer. I was like, oh god, are they gonna have CGI in this movie? The CGI sucks in this movie so bad. Like, it irritates me, because without that CGI, I think this would almost be like an A+ movie. But the CGI in this movie, there's these characters in this movie. Let's call them the bad guys. I don't want to get too deep into what they do, because I didn't know much about the movie going in, and I think I benefited from that. I don't know if you benefited from, if you knew what the movie was about.
Oh,
like I did. Like I didn't. But let's say when some of these characters die, it uses a special effect that it sucks. No pun intended. It sucks all tension out of that situation to me. But honestly, that's like 6 minutes of the movie, and
I can look over it.
I can.
I couldn't, dude. I can.
Like, as it was happening, I was like, oh man, no. Like, because until that happened, it was I was like, man, this is like,
you know what I've learned?
This is my favorite horror movie of the year.
You know what I've learned? We're gonna walk back a little bit from
I'm very critical of CGI.
Folks, you heard it here first. Put it at the bottom of the screen. Caleb Luther.
The way I look at it,
overcritical of CGI.
The recent, like, really great art house horror movies don't have any CGI in them. Like,
because all their budget goes to it.
Hereditary, Us, Get Out, Midsummer, The Witch. These movies get by on atmosphere, and honestly,
Did this movie not have atmosphere?
Honestly, all those movies are scary.
Did this movie not have atmosphere?
This movie is not scary, Josh, but it's not.
It's not supposed to be.
Honest to God, this is not a horror movie. This is
really not.
This is like a dark fantasy that kind of turns into a horror movie in the third act, and I think it earns most of that. But I want to know your flaws, because I think we're going to get into some pretty big positives here.
Flaws?
Yeah. What was your flaw?
Little too much on nostalgia.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit with some of the like there's a moment when you can be nostalgic and pay tribute to a film, even though it is a sequel. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
that's going to happen, but it felt a little too much.
I wonder what it is that you're talking about, because what I really appreciated with this movie,
some things that are shot for shot are beautiful. Like some of the shot-for-shot,
it does a little shot-for-shot remake things of the first movie,
and then some of the things in the third act are a little, to me. But having said that, that's really the only flaw I have in the movie.
So we have different flaws, but it's both very small flaws.
Yes, very small.
What I really appreciate is that obviously they're just going to show some characters from the past.
Yes.
And it doesn't do some de-aging stuff. It just gets people that kind of look like those people.
And I respect that.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that. Especially
because Jack Nicholson does not look like Jack Nicholson anymore.
No.
And Shelley Duvall does not look like Shelley Duvall anymore.
And nobody looks like Shelley Duvall. So,
and the little boy probably don't look like the little boy anymore because he's grown up.
But we're talking about stuff compared to the Shining. The majority of this movie does not lean on The Shining.
It doesn't.
And you know what?
The only thing it leans on is the premise, not the presence. The premise of what The Shining is.
Yeah,
that's it. It feels though like it's its own singular movie until the third act.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, like without the Shining, the stuff in this movie wouldn't have took place. But you go through those first 2 acts, and it does feel like its own story.
Movie,
like, and this is a long movie, so
it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. So strap in.
So that's a lot of movie.
It is.
Where it's definitely like its own story and a drastically different movie than The Shining. And I agree. I know The Shining. I know Stephen King doesn't like The Shining adaptation. But I think what I really like this movie compared to The Shining is that we actually understand more of what The Shining, the actual Shining, this
what
movie
it is
truly about The Shining.
Yeah.
And it's some crazy stuff. And I was on board with all the crazy stuff. It was almost like Inception at times, and it's crazy.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I think the cast like delivers.
Ewan McGregor is off the chain in this.
And this little girl, I don't know. I've never seen her in anything. She's awesome. And Rebecca Ferguson as maybe the most interesting movie villain I've seen in a movie all year long, and that's counting like
and not to mention the cameos, bub. The cameos. The cameos that made me and you go, what?
Yeah,
this person's in this movie?
There's a cameo where I was like, oh man, really? That's cool.
Pros. Are you good with cons? Because I'm done. I'm done.
Aside from that, I don't think the movie had as much emotional impact on me as what I'd been hearing other people say. I was really hoping it was gonna like really get me by the end. Instead, it just has a really nice. It has a nice ending.
Which is fine.
It's good. It has a good ending. It didn't like. Oh god, that was so moving. It wasn't anything like that. And in that regards, I am a little let down by it. But that's it though. That's my only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pros.
It's
beautiful.
I'm saying
it's a beautiful movie.
Oh, it's filmed amazing.
It's beautiful.
The way I look at it, there's only one other horror director out there that would have done a better job at this, and that's
J.J. Abrams.
And that's Ari Aster of Hereditary and Midsommar. Yeah. If not him, get Mike Flanagan, who has proven himself over and over again that he is a really, really competent horror director.
I agree.
He's like past in terms of like mainstream horror, he has passed James Wan, who did the Conjuring movies and Insidious. He's passed him. He does a better job of capturing like the PTSD and trauma of childhood, and that's what this movie's about. It's completely about the trauma that you face, and we all know that Danny Torrance faced some pretty extreme trauma in The Shining, and you always wonder what's his life going to be like after that. And this movie does a pretty good job of showing exactly like what his life would have been like. And I think, as far as, like I said, this isn't really much of a horror movie until the third act. And the third act did give me some goosebumps, I'm not gonna lie, for different reasons. But it's more of a dark fantasy, but I think the scariest part of the movie is the part early on, because real life...
I'm sorry, the heater in our car is drying my contacts out.
To me, real life tragedy is scarier than the ghosts and the ghouls. And there's something that was really like bothering that happens in the first act that sort of like jump starts Danny to want to become a better person. That thing that he sees a vision that's like really like upset me a lot. I was like, that's bothersome. And I mean, like I'm glad the movie did it, but it really it stuck with me throughout the whole movie. And I dug this movie. I probably didn't like it as much as I thought I was, but yeah, I don't have many complaints with it.
I did.
What?
I loved this movie.
Oh yeah,
I loved this movie.
I'm pretty sure I loved it too. But
I never got to see Midsommar.
Yeah, it's not as good as that. It's not as good as that movie. I don't think this is as good as Us either. Us stuck with me more than this movie did. But man, probably third best horror movie I've seen this year.
I'm going one better. This is my second favorite movie of the year. I'm not even joking. I love that movie that much.
I get it.
I could go back and honestly, I'm going to go back and watch that movie
I'd say over the course of the first hour to like an hour and 15 minutes, I was like, man, this might be my favorite movie of the year.
Even with the flaws and even with the nostalgic part of the third part, the third act that I said was a little problematic, I can look over that to see, because we worked up to that. We really did. It worked up to that part.
It earns it.
It earns it.
It earns it.
So I can overlook.
It's just a little overkill.
It's a little overkill, a little much, a little shot for shot remake stuff kind of feeling, but I can look over that enough to give the movie a very, 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 very positive score.
I think with me, the CGI is not just like a visual thing. To me, the CGI is a reveal of maybe some of these characters that are really interesting to me, and I felt sort of let down by that. And that's a big part of a big part of the movie to me, that this is what they get. This is their
thing.
This is their doing right here. And I don't know, it didn't bother me, but CGI in horror movies, it's a problem to me, but it's not nearly as big of a sin as like It Chapter 2 or anything like that. It's very
This movie is better than It Chapter 2.
It's fairly subtle. Just saying. It's fairly subtle CGI, but they show a lot of it there, like in that one scene in particular, and it's a big scene. And I'm like, man, this scene would be so much.
Are you talking about in the third act?
No, this is in the second act. There's guns involved.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, there's guns involved, so you gotta get your rootin' tootin' shooting in this one.
You know, it's just one of those things. I was like, oh, that's okay. I was expecting something a little bit more than that.
Having said that, final score, Caleb.
Oh man,
I do weird things with my fingers while Caleb does his.
I'm gonna give this an. I don't know. It's tough. This is a tough one. This is a movie that I might feel differently about.
On the second watch,
maybe just in a couple days. Oh. But I do plan on. I want to watch this again.
I'm watching it again Tuesday.
Let's have like a placement holder for now.
No, there's a placement holder. You give it a score.
I'm gonna give it a score, but it's a placement holder score.
No.
Yeah, it's an A-.
No.
I'm giving this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm giving this an A-.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ranked it higher than I did.
No, Josh, there's no way your second favorite movie of the year is lower than an A-. You are a liar right now. You're lying to me. Because I know you gave In-Game and Toy Story higher than an A-. Because I was there.
I gave them A+.
Yeah,
and they were amazing.
A+. What do you give this?
This movie's an A. This movie's an A. It's a flat-out, wonderful, fun time at the theater for 2.5 hours. You are never bored.
Surprisingly fun.
You're never bored.
Even though it's somewhat like meditative at times, and it deals with some pretty dark stuff. It's not a depressing movie. I don't think.
And some of the stuff in it is slow burn too. There is a lot of slow burn in this movie, but it's that slow burn that keeps you interested.
Oh no, it's never boring.
No,
it's a slow burn that ends up with a payoff there at the end. That's I think is pretty satisfactory. Yeah. So
if we never have another Shining movie, that's fine.
You know what? I wouldn't mind a sequel to this. Not gonna lie. I'm into it. I'm into the idea. I'm invested in.
If this grosses $100 million, like that,
I'm invested in more like Shining mythology. That's fascinating to me because we didn't get a lot of that in The Shining. The Shining just terrified me. But
The Shining was just the Jack Nicholson movie.
It's an art house masterpiece. But let us know what you thought of Dr. Sleep in the comment section below. I think the reviews are they're being a little harsh on it. It's way better than that.
It's very much.
Yeah. So. Let us know what you thought of this movie.
This is the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes that's actually right.
We'll see. Yeah.
It's at 98% right now on Rotten Tomatoes.
I get that. Yeah. And
critics give it a 75 right now.
And
audience gives it a 98.
And I would contribute to that 98 because I would definitely clearly give this a positive score.
I would give it a positive score too.
Let us know what you thought of Dr. Sleep.
ART, fix your rating system.
Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.
We went there.